Welcome to Grow Her Wings, a podcast by the Malou Project, a 501c3 based in Jacksonville, Florida, with a mission to connect girls to aviation. We are your hosts, Jenn and Carrie, and we invite you to join us as we meet new people, talk to old friends, and learn new lessons on the path to inspire more of us to grow our wings. Jenn, your background looks different. You've moved.
Moving.
Where have you moved?
Happy Veterans Day. This is my Veterans Day in Washington, D.C.
Excellent.
I'm at the Pentagon.
Yes. That is one of those things that I never did. You know, you spend your time as a younger officer claiming, I'm going to avoid the Pentagon. I don't want to go there. And then as, you know, and you take it as like this badge of honor of, I'm not going to have to do a staff job. And then as your career goes along, you start looking at it going, that might be pretty cool. Then you end up like me, retired, having never been to the Pentagon.
Oh my God, yeah.
Where you get to live vicariously through one of your best friends in the Air National Guard at the Pentagon.
We separated and joined the National Guard at the Pentagon now.
And we've got some other news. What's that other news? What's happening in a couple of days? Who's getting promoted? That girl. No, but in all seriousness, this is huge. This is awesome. New job, new place, moving in. I see you unpack the helicopters first. You know, fitting. Why not? So, new rank, new
apartment,
new apartment, all sorts of new things to learn. So this is a pretty eventful Veterans Day for you.
It is, and it's an amazing journey, an amazing life, and the people that I'm getting to meet and the people I'm getting to interact with, like,
yes,
levels of thinking and, you know, just amazing. I'm so grateful.
I am so grateful. I can't wait to hear all about it and learn with you.
You know what I think about when I'm like in the moments that I'm in is that like I want to share this. Like I wish there were people that could just be like with me, that could see and understand and hear just even the minuscule things like that. Our 4-star, the Chief National Guard Bureau, and this I really should not. I need to make sure I do the disclaimer, right? Like my views not shared by anybody else, but like he, you know, just like the minuscule things of like the things that he's thinking about, and even though they're like they might seem minor, you know, like he understands that the Minuteman doesn't connect with our youth any longer. Like the Minuteman that represented the Air National Guard, he's like, or the National Guard Bureau in general, he understands that doesn't connect. To be in the room when he says that out loud, it's like, man, like that is so cool. You know, we're in the trenches every day, just doing drill and doing normal like computer-based training and trying to get our item bar and everything. But like to hear that really connect that way, it's cool.
To recognize that, you know what, this is something that we may need to revamp.
Yes.
We need to move out and reconnect in a way that people want to know what we're about.
And, you know, I keep telling all my friends that I'm really glad to be back at this strategic level. And I know it sounds dorky, but at the same time, like I also, because I worked with a 4-star before on ACC staff, that, you know, there's a lot of things that airmen at the lower levels take for granted. They don't understand what the 4-star is really thinking about and what he's really considering. And I mean, just that little thing of like, hey, I know that isn't really
right. And also the same way you look at it, how would we communicate that? You know? So
yeah.
You know, but I won't tell you. I'll tell you. You mentioned something in there that I'm super grateful to be retired. I do miss it. I'm a full veteran now, I guess, fully retired, done. But I do not miss computer-based training. I definitely do not miss having to log in to make sure that my medical readiness is, everything's green and not yellow or red, because I might be about due a flu shot, but because I got it in September last year, now I need it now and I'm overdue.
You're missing it.
I'm not missing that aspect. I'm super grateful for the people that keep all that straight, but I just look back at it. I'm like, I no longer have to do the cyber awareness training, CBT.
You need it. You need it in your life. You need the big bad wolf that's blowing down.
I might be completely at risk right now, and I'm blissfully unaware of my little retiree cocoon bubble, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so I walked by a young lady today at the Pentagon, and she had her mask on, but she looked like, from the eyes up, the girl who's like, hey, I have this new CD that I found on a desk. Do you want to play this in your computer? She looked exactly like haircut and all. I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, wow, maybe the training was loosely based on a true story.
It was quite
it's possible. Tina. Oh, I'm sorry, but I digress.
Veterans Day to you, my friend, my DD 214.
Yes.
Who has had it in her file and probably carried it everywhere. Happy Veterans Day.
Yes. In fact, it's right here on my desk in the envelope in which it was mailed to me. You get it online, which is great, but these things that you start learning is your access is different because you take it for granted just typing in a PIN. So now you've got to remember usernames and passwords. That usually doesn't do well as you age.
Yeah, we have a cat card.
So I'm super grateful that they mailed a copy to me as well. So obviously I'm keeping that super safe. But a long path for both of us to get where we are. Yeah. I mean, you think back to, gosh, now I sound like an old lady. I said, gosh. What is happening to me?
Whoever's listening, like, that's possible. I mean, no matter how much you serve, even if you served a day, you still get a 214, right? Like, and
yes, my dad has multiple DD 214s because he served, re-enlisted. So he got one for when his enlistment was done. And then, he had a gap, and then he re-enlisted, and he's got another DD 214 for that. So no matter how long you serve, you get one. You're a veteran.
Yeah. And
you're a veteran.
We have a mutual friend, Sarah Maples, who's been huge in helping us. She has her podcast after the DD 14. She's also been very successful in writing books and everything. And Sarah, just want to put out that she's huge in that field. So
yes, grateful for her and the knowledge she's spreading. I want to watch it, but she just she put something out on her LinkedIn recently about that podcast, somebody that she recently interviewed, which
her new podcast, yep.
So that looks pretty cool. Looking forward to that. But yeah, veterans, and we're changing the face of what a veteran looks like over the last many years. I mean, if you think about it, we published an article in Malou about a year ago. So yeah, exactly a year ago, that we're the fastest growing veteran population. Yeah. Which,
at staff, we have 7 general officers that are female. Now, I think it's out of like 20 staff positions.
Right.
Significant female representation at the general officer level. I'm trying to get a picture of them all, but PA tells me COVID is being restrictive. I think that's we can get.
Come on, PA. This is momentous. Get a picture.
Love you, Miss O'Grady. Like, let's try and make this happen.
It should be able to happen, because that'd be pretty great to share. That'd be pretty great to share.
Yeah, I think so.
What are some of your memories?
Well,
some of your serving memories, because you served active duty, transitioned to the Guard. What are some young Lieutenant Opke memories as you get ready to become Colonel Opke.
Okay, so this shirt that I'm wearing is
Yeah.
mountain wear shirt that I would wear when I was deployed. This is, I mean, I tried to live the part right now, like my face, hair.
Yeah.
Okay, Afghanistan, 2004. This is me walking around. There were Afghanis that were like unloading. We had to wear a weapon, right? So we had to wear a weapon everywhere. So I had my M9 on my hip, and there were Afghanis that were unloading their truck, and they pretty much stopped in their tracks. So I didn't have this gray streak here, but I mean,
flying helicopters gave you that gray streak.
Yeah,
maybe.
Just that I got old. I don't know. But yeah, they stopped, and it was like a very nervous moment where like these local nationals were unloading some things, you know.
Yeah.
And it was daylight. We hardly ever worked in daylight. For combat search and rescue, we were on alert at night. So
right.
I think I was just going to the post office, and I had my M9, and I had my knife, and I had this on, and
yes,
stopped in the tracks because they didn't know what to do.
Because it's different.
Wasn't in a burqa.
it's different.
Yeah, I don't mean to like make any kind of assumptions, but I think that I have kind of some features that would be easily to, you know, I would look like I was from that culture, right? Like I don't think I look very different. I don't look very American, but yeah, it was a scary moment. Like they all stopped. They stopped unloading, and I was like, I don't want to use my Beretta right now, but I will if I have
to. I think it was more of a they were awestruck by your beauty.
No, it was more like, what is a woman walking around without a burqa on? That was more.
You know, you mentioning that made me think of a story. I was in a particular location that I was kind of surprised that I got sent to go do this particular deployment. It was when I was flying various light, medium, fixed wing airplanes. And when I heard that I was being sent there, like, okay, that's a place where they wear the full-on burqas. Are you guys sure you want to send a female pilot to go do this? And they're like, well, you're totally capable, which, great.
That's awesome.
Totally grateful for that. I was looking forward to it. It was going to be a great opportunity, great mission. Wanted to go. It was a place I'd never. But then once you arrive, you just fully recognize that first instinct that I had of, are you sure you want to send a female pilot? Because just my arrival. I mean, I'm just your average 5'4" young girl from the Midwest, but walking off that airplane is just kind of the, you know, what are you doing here? But it ended up being pretty awesome, because that standing out is sometimes a superpower.
Yes.
So,
yes.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wasn't waiting for somebody to walk up and ask me why I was there, what I needed. I wasn't waiting for, you know, my transportation. I never really waited or wanted for anything. Someone was always there to handle me, essentially.
We owe Senator Martha McSally a big thank you for that, because, I mean, she did some groundbreaking work to make sure that female service members, especially pilots, were recognized for, you know, we were able to be American in those areas that.
I mean, obviously go in, be respectful, don't be obnoxious. But at the same point, I was not expected to go do that job wearing anything other than I would wear as an American service member.
Yeah.
So, because I was doing my job.
I really appreciate her for that. Like, and some other things she did, but that especially, like, I felt the same, you know, like I never ever felt like I was anything other than equal.
Right.
I was just an American there flying missions.
Right. In your cool black shirt. So how many times did you deploy?
7.
We've never talked about this.
7 times, which is low. It's low. Like I love brothers in my career field. Like there's some guys that deploy 22 times. I don't even know. Maybe that was last time I checked, like 4 years ago. They deployed 22
Right.
times when I was 7. That's low for my career field. And
but I think this is a good point to bring up because I think about my sister. My sister is a veteran, but she doesn't feel like a veteran because she never deployed. So it's also kind of to point out the number of times you deploy or where you go. And I get it. There's some good-natured ribbing amongst the services about, Air Force, you guys deploy to where we go on R&R. Not always true if you're in rescue or special ops.
That's just that's a great.
But it's the other part of you served. Yeah. You're a veteran. My sister's a nurse in the Air Force. She served honorably.
Yes, she signed up to give her life in the protection of the freedom of all Americans. And
right,
deploy or not, but that's the problem, right? Like we stratify our veterans by what they've done. And
were you in combat? Were you not in combat? Where were you deployed? Were you a pilot? Were you not a pilot? Were you in the Army? We stratify it. Because I remember it stood out because she had sent something to me, my husband, who served 30 years, and her husband, who had deployed a couple of times as a flight surgeon. And we thanked her, and she goes, "Oh, but I'm not a veteran. I never deployed." Serving, that DD-214, serving. So I want to put a shout out and say thank you to everybody who doesn't think they're a veteran for the mere fact that they feel like they didn't deploy or they didn't deploy enough.
Big stuff.
Or,
you are as soon as you so let's be real. Like as soon as you sign your name to enlistment when you're in the MEPS and you have to give your blood and your urine and everything, when you're going through that process, that is big. Not everyone does that. In fact, only 2% of Americans do that. So that in itself is enough to say, look, you have given up your identity.
Right. I'm sorry. I need to turn my light so I stop blinking so much.
I love you. We're trying to figure out the best way to make our lighting. I'm in my apartment. The lighting's not the best, but
hey, you're moving,
right? At least I got the blue project.
I know
back there.
But I'm sporting That Others May Live Foundation.
When's the race for that?
I just did it. It was in September. So it was for the Air Force Marathon.
Yeah.
So since everything went virtual this year because of COVID, everybody that was signed up to do the Air Force Marathon, they did it virtually, and there are all sorts of events. There was a half, there was Fly, Fight, Win, which you did a 5K, I think 5K, 10K and a half marathon. That's what some people did. And I signed up to do the half marathon and raised money. There were a lot of us that were raising money to support the That Others May Live Foundation. Great organization.
How much did you raise?
Almost $3,000. Yes. So thank you for everyone that donated and supported that. Goes to scholarships for children of members of the Air Force Search and Rescue community that died serving our country, whether in combat or training.
I'm an ambassador for that organization, and I've not had the opportunity to actually be an ambassador, but what the organization does, and me as an ambassador, is if anyone passes away in any kind of rescue scenario, which, I'd love to talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
But if sacrificing our lives for another person, if we pass away in that, we have, because of COML, people that will take care of our families, will give us children's scholarships, will keep up with our children to make sure that they have all the things that any other American would have, and a mentor for life. And it's really a beautiful thing. I just can't even talk enough about it.
It's great. They keep us connected, and they keep them connected to the family that they're
a very important rescue is
huge importance.
And I was talking to somebody the other day about this. I loved when I was moving up in ACC and I was coming up in those like higher levels. I loved telling people I never even knew there was anything else other than helicopters until I got and to the higher levels of ACC. Like I just never even thought the Air Force had anything else because it is the most important mission. Like it's the most important mission. I still will never back down from that. Like we will always back Americans. Period. That promise we make.
Right. And that's something that we as a nation are able to give, is that idea that you go to war and you have your worst day, we are going to do everything we can to come get you and bring you home. And I thought about that because I started out my career flying Learjets because I thought I was so certain I wanted to be a bomber pilot. I mean, I went into pilot training. I wanted to fly the B-1. I was so certain. And, fate protected me by there not being any, an opportunity for me to fly a bomber come time for me to graduate. So I flew the C-21. And then when it came time to figure it out again, what I wanted to do, and I look back at these people now and just kind of be like, you know what, you didn't know what you were missing out on. But we had to rack and stack again what we wanted to do coming out of C-21s as your first assignment. And I saw that there were MC-130P, HC-130P, and then C-130s. And I put the MC-130 and the HC-130 first and second because I looked up their mission and I'm like, okay, Air Force Special Operations Command, the Combat Shadow, read what it did. I'm like, all right, that sounds great. Looked at the HC-130. I'm like, okay, that pretty much sounds like the same thing, only it's an Air Combat Command, but it's not the same thing. That rescue community was totally different and totally awesome. And as soon as I showed up at Kirtland, just to start my training,
yes, you knew it.
I already felt like I made a great choice. And all those guys making fun of me going, oh man, there was somebody at Air Force, at AFPC going, we have a volunteer. Because, making it sound like who would volunteer for rescue?
That was before 2001, right? Like that was.
Right. That was before 2001. This was in 2000 when I was making that decision. And then as I'm getting ready to leave to go to training was September 2001. So I showed up in rescue running and didn't stop running.
Yeah.
Most of my career, even staff assignments, you're running.
Mission, like it is the best mission. And I've been on so many of those where like I just made someone's worst day into their best. Like,
right.
What do you do with that? Like this person I know he thought he was dying. She thought she was dying in Afghanistan. I've never seen their family ever again. And I get to show up my chopper and pick them up. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like,
yeah, there are some great people that support and work in and around the rescue community. So super grateful and
it takes
special recognition Veterans Day for them for all that they've done and all that they continue to do. So,
and it's not just like I get to show up with my golden hands. So for people who know me, though, like I show up with my golden hands. Land and pick them up, but it's all of those other people.
I can't make too much fun of you for that because I always joke that being on the flight deck of a HC-130, you have the navigator, the co-pilot, the flight engineer, loadmaster, radio operator at the time. I'm just the rock star. I just have to sit here with my flying skills and be the rock star, and they're doing all the work.
I just show both hands. Just let me.
Hands.
I'll just put it in the zone. You get on. I get all the credit.
It's so true. It's true. That is a joke. We get to be the rock star, but everyone that's a part of that, wow.
From the one Charlie Oscars, right? Like, look at who our new Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force is.
Yes.
And Chief Bass. One Charlie Oscar, like from them to our medical team to everyone that makes sure that this
aircrew flight equipment, the SEER guys.
And
It's a lot. It's a big enterprise.
And then the PJs. When they're not
Yeah.
they get off the airplane and go pick the people up.
So I guess technically we're their sweet ride. We fly them there.
PJ, comment below. I want to know. I want to know if PJs are watching our thing.
They will if it gets out that we cracked a joke, just so that they can push back on us.
Or anybody that has hair that like a PJ. You know who you are.
Oh my goodness. You're terrible. But back to the point. Veterans Day.
We have a point. We have a point. We have a point. Listen.
We have a point.
This is what I'm drinking tonight. Horse Soldier. Anyone else who's interested in this whiskey, or bourbon. Bourbon. They were the 12 that came into Afghanistan in the initial days. Super cool story. Totally recommend it. Smooth. Way better than Woodford.
We're not going to get them to sponsor us now.
Anybody who knows me would agree. Yeah. But anyway.
Cool. Well, that's good. That's awesome. So, Veterans Day, grateful for everybody that has served. Grateful for my time having served.
And there are so many, and I just want to put a shout out, there's a big movement right now, right? Like, we're highlighting how many more women we need in the military. All the ladies that have been out there. I mean, I don't know how many times I've told the story where my mother said women don't belong in combat. And I'm like, hey, Mom, I've been doing that for 20 years now.
Right.
I've been shot at and I've shot back.
Right.
Just don't believe the hype. Don't believe the media. There are many, many women and, in support roles and that have crossed the line.
Right. Even long before it was deemed, I don't want to say legal, but before they recognized and authorized women going to serve in combat roles, designated combat roles, they were out there doing it.
Do you know, and I don't know how many people know this, but do you know why it was so significant that we designated them as combat roles? So we can get medical care. Because the VA was not recognizing these women.
Right. Because it's a different there's a different level of it. Now, having gone through my filing, I have my service related, and then I have those things that are designated to me that are combat related, something previously not available, so that I have specific things that are registered with the VA in my medical record as not just service related, but combat related. And that's huge. So thank you to everyone that fought for that, to get that for us.
Thank you to Hagar, thank you to Sally, thank you to all of those women that put themselves on the line to make that happen, because it's huge dividends for all women veterans. PTSD, reproductive health, all those things.
Right. Yeah, but I think that's perfect on this Veterans Day to recognize those that helped us become, I don't know a better way to say that, to be full veterans. We're full veterans, and from those that fought to make sure that the WASP could be buried in Arlington.
Senator Duckworth, and if I do ever get promoted, which who knows if that's going to happen, it's a daily, but I was looking at doing it at the Women's Memorial.
Yeah.
Wow. There's just a lot of things that our predecessors did without recognition, that I'm super grateful that they're actually getting the recognition they deserve now, especially through WMA,
yes,
the WASPs, and all these organizations that are really, advocates. And I just think that there's a lot of women veterans out there who feel like, oh, well, I shouldn't be recognized. Like, who cares? I did service like everybody else. No, you did not do service like everyone else. And I will tell you that because I was in a meeting where I was with me as a lieutenant colonel and 2 female 2-stars and a male 1-star walked in and he was uncomfortable. And just seeing that like register on his face,
Mm-hmm.
to know that like that's what you lived, right? And now the tables are actually turned a little bit. Like, it's just, I don't mean to make anyone less than anything, but just
right.
to know, like to see that registered on his face of like, hey, I'm different. Because you had to deal with, like, all these women that came before us had to deal with that. And
all the time.
And, you know, we did too. You and I did. But I mean, on a much smaller scale, I think, than
a much, much smaller scale. We've been growing into what we really want is the recognition just for doing our job.
We've talked about it on previous podcasts, like our merit. Like, everyone should be judged on their merit.
On their merits.
Period. Yep. I know we're coming into a new administration where we have a beautiful new vice president, and I'm excited for that. But at the same time, like, everyone, we just have to, like, I think it's very important. And I don't mean to at all, like, she's obviously done a lot of hard work to get where she is, and I love it. I'm super excited, and
representation does matter.
It does for all of our youth to see that.
To see that. Right.
Like, oh my God. I mean, just like President Obama, when he, you know, that very iconic picture of him touching the hair of a young man, American, like, that's also very touching and also very empowering. We need that. However, I really, like, as we've talked about throughout all of our podcasts, I've said this, like, since the beginning of time, like, I don't care what you look like. It's about your merit. It's about
your merit,
what you bring, your talents. And that's ultimately, like, I hope that that's what I've been hired on, is my talents.
Yeah. We all deserve that. Everyone deserves to be hired based on their merit, their talent, their skill, what they bring. Everyone. And that's where we're trying to get and stay.
These golden hands.
Those golden hands. This rock star.
Happy Veterans Day, Carrie.
Happy Veterans Day, Jen. I'm so grateful.
I am so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful for everybody who's listening, and please share our podcasts. I know it looks like total mess in the background here. I'm sorry. We'll get back to, like, our more professional looking.
We're both in transition, but we just wanted to be able to share a happy Veterans Day, or really honoring you, all veterans on this Veterans Day. You know, despite the chaos that we have going on, and we're moving and shifting and changing, but we couldn't let this day go by without recognizing everyone that has served and those that are going to serve and do great things for our country.
Absolutely.
So,
and keep in touch. Stay tuned for our next podcast, which should be super amazing. Can't wait. I can't wait.
Looking forward to it. We got to get some dates ironed out. So totally looking forward to it.
Please tune in.